Hello. Whew, had a whirlwind of a day. I literally just ran in the door here and have to help my daughter get a movie so that I can do this. Give me one sec. Hopefully some of you, oh, Louise is there. Hey, Louise. I'm just coming down here from a crazy, crazy day with the kids and a million things to do. But I made it, and I'm here on time. Lorna's here. Hey, Lorna. I'm going to go ahead and probably get started here in a minute. Hi, that's probably BC. Hi, BC. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about breaking in your woven wraps. And I think we've already had one discussion about this, but maybe those people who haven't seen that one can learn a little something new today. And my baby's asleep, so I'm going to get started because I don't know when he's going to wake up, and it could be any minute. So I want to show you too. I have two quad blend Carta Style Joy and Joe wraps that I totally love. And this is Sutton Carta Style. And you know what? I should have had these blends in front of me. I should have grabbed my computer so I could tell you the blends. So silk and linen and wool, basically they're thick, beastly wraps. This one's gotten pretty floppy because I wear this one a lot. But I want to talk about what happened to my beautiful lavender Carta Style, which I sent out traveling to help break it in because this one was really hard for me to break in. It has quite a bit of linen and lamb's wool in it and silk. And so I sent this out to travel with instructions not to wash it, and someone machine washed it. And so I don't know if you can see what happened to the wool in here. You can kind of see how the hairs are sticking up, but it felted. And it is not what it used to be. So I'm pretty sad about that. I don't know if anybody has any tips for me on what to do if your wrap is felted. I would love those. Send those my way or post it in here or something. So I'm going to show you guys this one, which was very, very thick and stiff when I first got it. And so if you are going to wash wraps, I'm going to talk specifically mostly probably about wool because that's what I know the most about. But if you're going to wash a thick quad blend wrap or a wool wrap, you really you never want to put it in the machine. I don't even think on delicate cycle because I think the person who put this in the machine did it on delicate and it still felted. And so I recommend if you're going to wash your wool wraps that you, oh, I'm thinking I hear a baby. Nope. Okay, sorry. That you put these in the bathtub with a detergent specifically for wool, with a wool wash. And the way that I do it is I stick it in with tepid water, or more cool than tepid actually, and then with a wool wash, and I just kind of let it sit. And then take it out and I lay towels out and I roll it. If the towel were, let's say this were the towel on the outside, and I've laid this down on the towel, and then I roll it like this and step on it to squeeze all of the water out, and then lay it flat to dry. But ideally, I mean, ideally you don't want to wash them. If you can get away with not washing your wool wraps, they're going to last a lot longer. But this one, I mean, look how nice and lovely and floppy this one is. So what have I done to this to get it broken in? I'll show you some things I've done. So I've done the braiding trick, which basically you're going to make kind of a knot here at first, like this, and then stick your hand in, just tighten it a little more, and you just pull up chains of the wrap until you've got the length of it done. I think this is one of my favorite ways braiding. And so it gets the friction when it's coming through here, and then you can make like, I'll show you what I do. I make like a little donut pillow out of it after it's been braided, and I'll put it on the sofa and we sit on it, which is just kind of comfy and really helps break the fibers in. And you don't have to be afraid. This one I noticed, this Sutton Cardo style, has a pretty nice tight weave. I've been pretty rough with this wrap, and I don't have one snag in it at all. My other one, on the other hand, that I sent traveling, it's the same weave. I don't know what people were doing to it. It has pulls like crazy, but the hazards of baby wearing when you send a wrap traveling. And I don't know that I'm gonna do it again because it really did not turn out great for me. Okay, so once you got it braided like this, I just kind of make it into a little donut. It's actually quite comfortable to sit on. And we put it on the couch and we'll just sit on it. The kids will kind of play with it. And this is a great way to store your wool wraps too, because it helps break the fibers down and soften your wrap. So that is one way. Hammocking is one of my kids' favorite ways. And the way that you hammock with a wrap is, if you have two poles outside, that's ideal. You can just tie one end to each pole and then your kids can play in it. But I do it on the table. So I just drape my hammock or my wrap up and around the table, tie it in a really nice secure knot on top of the table. I have pictures of my kids in the wraps hammocked, and then they get to just swing on it and play on it. And that's actually usually one of the first things that I do when I get a big thick wrap, is I just hammock it under the table for a couple days and really let the kids start playing in it. Who's here? Oh, BC was sharing. She's here. Hi. Carolee is here. Lindsay's watching. Hello, everybody. So if anybody has questions, let me know, and feel free to ask me about anything else. It doesn't have to be related to breaking in wraps, because I was running out of things to talk about. So I figured talk about breaking in wraps and then see where the discussion leads us. Other ways to break in, lots of people will sleep with their wraps. They'll put them on the couch, on the sofa, and just have them on there for people to crawl all over. That helps break them in. I mean, really wearing your wraps is what's gonna help the most, and getting the pressure of the baby in the wrap. You can pull on your wraps. You can, what else have I done with this wrap? I'm trying to think. I know I've done a few things with this guy. Oh, beating it. So after you get it nice and braided or twisted, I've twisted too. You can twist one direction and then pull, and then twist the other direction and pull. If you get somebody on the other end of your wrap, twist and pull, twist and pull. And cowls, how do you break in cowls? I actually don't have any cowls, but I would imagine that the same processes of twisting, and you wouldn't be able to braid a cowl, but you could definitely bathe it and wash it a few times, and steam. Oh my gosh, steam is queen. I have a little, I don't actually use an iron. I have a little steamer, like, for clothing, and I'll go through and steam my wrap, and that makes a huge difference. That would make a huge difference with a cowl, would be to steam it a few times. And then, anything that you can do to break down the fibers. So just play with it. Just have it in your hands and play with it. And that's going to help break it in too. And beating the wraps is really fun if you're angry. It's a great anger release. I would say braid it, or let's see if we can just fold it and twist it. Twist it around itself. And then you just literally, you beat it on the floor once you've got it braided, over and over again. Maybe I should braid it so I can really demonstrate beating it. But for me, steam has worked really well on this guy. And steam and hammocking, and alternating between the different methods of breaking in a wrap. So alternate between braiding it, steaming it, having it on the sofa, having it on your bed. You usually wear a lot. Oh, can't wear a baby with your cowl. Yeah, no, you can't. So I would say breaking in thick cowls, definitely steaming and twisting back and forth, twisting back and forth should help break it in. This one I love. This is one of my favorite wraps, and I'm so excited that it's fall and it's finally getting a little bit cooler here. It was cool at the park this morning when we were out at the park. So I'm going to show you how this guy looks when it's wrapped. I might have to stand up here. If any of you have quad blends, you know how hard they can be to break in. And this probably still has some breaking in to go. Now that Kieran is bigger and he's a toddler, this is going to probably get even floppier this fall and winter as I use it. And I have snowing? Hello, Jessica. Where do you live? Where was it snowing? I'm so curious. Are you in the States or are you in the UK? So you can see that this is nice. It pleats beautifully. It ties a good knot. Now that that's another thing to do too, is just go through with your wrap and tie it in knots over and over again, up and down the length of it. We'll do that after this. Because it's the act of pulling it through like that really helps soften it up. And it took me a while. Before I even wore this, gosh, I think I worked on breaking it in for maybe 3 weeks before I started wearing it, because it was very crunchy, and it's really done a phenomenal job of softening up. Central Indiana, I'm not ready for snow yet. No snow! We don't get much here in Oregon. I'm in Southern Oregon, so we don't get much snow. But yeah, I would imagine Indiana's starting to get chilly. Oh, sling rings, yeah. You know what? I have sling rings. I literally ran in from picking up my daughter from school, ran in and ran here and set this thing up. So I'd have to go grab my sling ring. Do I have it do I have it close? I may have a sling ring close that I could grab, but that does work really well. So if you imagine, I don't want to leave you guys staring at nothing to go grab a sling ring, but you can imagine that you can pull it through the sling rings, and that really does help break it in a lot too. Where can you buy sling rings? There's an online, Sally, I don't know if you're in the UK or if you're in the States. In the States, there is I believe it's just slingrings.com, and that's where I buy mine, and they're really great sling rings. Oh, and Joy and Joe has sling rings on the website. That's right. I forgot we're offering sling rings now, so you can get those at Joy and Joe right on their website. And then there's another thing you can do with a chair, where I have a baby chair here that I can demonstrate with. You can take your wrap, and see I have a hole in the chair, imagine on a bigger chair, and you can pull it through the chair, and then you're just going to work it like this, have somebody sit in it, or you can use a pole like on a staircase or something, and you just pull and pull and pull through back and forth to help break down the fibers. Really anything you can do just to break the fibers down is going to help break in your wrap. But you don't have to I don't know, you don't have to spend hours and hours doing it. I find that this softens up really well just with braiding and knotting. Like you could twist it and make knots the length of the wrap and let it sit like that overnight. Letting your kids play with them works really well. Knot it up, give it to your kids as a rope. make a hammock, anything that's going to apply weight and pressure or friction like this, like running it through the knot. So you can even hear how that's pulling it through. That's going to help soften your wrap. That friction noise. So you could tie knots the length of it, hang it off of something so your kids could climb up it. That'll help break your wrap in. Keep a wrap on your car seat. Oh, that's a great idea too. You fold it on the car seat. I know I've folded it and put it on my desk chair in front of my computer, and that works. And leaving it as a blanket for the kids to use on the sofa works really great. Or I love hammocks too, Lindsay. I think hammocks is my go-to for when I first get a wrap. But I love that sound of a wrap really struggling to get through the knot. I'm getting a workout here. And so all of that pulling and tightening This is pretty fun. Like your kids could totally climb up this. You hang it on a banister or something and your kids get to play and climb and break your wrap in for you. Let's see, just something you should do with all wraps prior to, just the heavier wraps, just the quad blends, the ones that are really thick and crunchy. Linen a lot of times needs some substantial breaking in. So I have found Joy and Joe cotton wraps. This is my cotton Cardo style. It is floppy goodness and it came to me this way. So I didn't really have to break it in. Not all cotton wraps are this soft, but you really, cotton wraps just with wearing are going to break in plenty. And a lot of times if they come to you in loom state, one wash and one steam iron and your cotton wraps are good to go. But these really thick, blankety wraps, they need some work. And steam really does work wonders. See, I mean, this is pretty good for a, you can see, I don't know if you can see how thick this guy is. This is a thick wrap. And it has had one bath. So, you know, it wouldn't probably be this thick if I hadn't washed it. They're a little bit thinner prior to washing, and even when you wash following all the directions, it is gonna wool no matter what. As soon as you get it wet, it's gonna shrink up a little bit. And linen, I've found some linen, depending on the linen, depending on the wrap, some linen really need to be broken in similar to wool. Yeah, man, I was feeling it in my arms doing that knotting. This wrap, I love, it has a great amount of diagonal stretch. I don't know if you can see that. And so when it, unlike some wool wraps have zero stretch. This is making me look really bright. Hold on, let me fix this. Fix this brightness, okay. Some wool wraps don't have like any stretch at all, and so it's really hard to get a tight double hammock with, but this Cardo style Sutton, I think there's what's left on the website. I think I saw there's a couple of these that were exclusive Cardo styles where there's only one or two of them. These are really awesome wraps. So if there's any left for winter, I recommend you guys go ahead and get one. Summer arms made in winter. Yeah, totally, Lynn. You can get your arms ready for the summer with your winter wraps. So I think, I mean, in terms of breaking in wraps, that's pretty much hammocking, braiding, knotting, letting your kids play with it, using it as a blanket, folding it, putting it on your seat, sitting on it, sleeping with it. Anybody else have any creative uses? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've done. I think that's about all I've done to really break my wraps in. And wearing. And if you have somebody you trust who's not going to ruin your wrap, like the people who ruined my lavender Cardo style, you could, because if you have a littler baby and not a really heavy baby, you could loan this to someone who has a really big kid. Or if you have a big kid, wear your big kid in it. And that will help too. You know, wear your heaviest kid, even if you have a 10-year-old, wrap your 10-year-old in it a few times and that'll help. Donuts, yes, donuts do help. Donuts are great. I don't know if I do donuts after I braid it, and then I'll do a twisted, sometimes I'll do like this and make a twisted donut. Let's see if I can make a twisted donut. I find twisting is really helpful too, just going in different twists. And I actually like sitting on these on my desk chair. When you get a nice little donutted up, see, that's super comfy. It could be a meditation stool for a while too. If anybody does any meditating or yoga practices, this could be great for that. You could use it as, if you do yoga, you could use it as your yoga blanket. That would also help break it in. And I think, I don't know about anyone else. Does anybody else have the Sutton, or the Cardo style, one of the limited Cardo style quads? I think these are pretty amazing wraps. Hello, Anne, how are you? Does anybody have any questions? Or here's cotton, so you can see the difference in cotton and a silk wool cotton blend. What else is in this one? Silk, wool, cotton, linen, I think. Let's see, I'm gonna back up and drape this over. So you can see the lightness of this one versus the heaviness of this one. Does anybody else love heavy wraps in the winter, or do you guys not like them? I'm curious. I love heavy wraps in the winter, and I love wool. I love the way how cushy wool is, as you can see, just in the thickness of the cush on my shoulders with big kids. This is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I can wrap Luna up in my wool and I feel super, super comfortable. She's 5 years old and 35 pounds. She's really tiny, but still, I can get her on my back in this and wear her around, and it feels great. So, let's see. Sarah's watching. Hi, Sarah. I think I'm just about to finish up here. We're talking about breaking in wraps. Sarah doesn't use woven wraps, so she's just on because she loves me. You like thick wraps too, Louise? I do too. I really like thick wraps. Although I have come to love a good linen wrap in the summertime, just because of how cool they are. So I think the highest linen percentage I have is a 50% linen, and that took some breaking in, similar to this. But once I got it broken in, even though it's thin, I really like it. Thanks, Sarah. I love you too. And Sarah has seen me wearing my babies. We've traveled with her, and so she's seen how I use wraps when I travel, and that's one of my favorite things about woven wraps. So I'm actually going to shift gears and just talk about traveling a little bit. I'm going to be leaving here next week for about a month, and I'm going to take this one with me, and I will be doing an Instagram takeover on the weekend starting the 11th, and you will get to see how I use this guy at the airport and traveling in Mexico. This is one of my lighter wraps, so I'm going to bring this to travel to Mexico in. 1 second, I have a crying baby who I have to go snag. 1 second. You want to say hi to everybody? Kieran woke up. He was asleep in the car seat. And I had the garage door open so I could hear him. So now we're going to nurse. Another great use for wraps when you're traveling is as nursing cover-ups. So I've found the older he's gotten, I mean, I don't usually cover up when I breastfeed, but the older he's gotten, sometimes I'll get those looks of, why are you breastfeeding your baby? And so you can just use it as a blanket like this on the airplane. I actually use it as low back support when we're flying. I roll it up and I make a little pillow for myself with my wrap. Yes, if you missed any of this, you can watch it again on the replay. But in terms of traveling with wraps, so the uses on the airplane there are so many uses for a woven wrap on the airplane. I'm going to be sad when I don't have an excuse to bring one with me anymore. But again, using it as lumbar support, using it as a blanket, using it as a nursing cover-up. I still want to find out a way to make some sort of hammock for the kids to play in when we're on a long flight. I haven't done that yet. And then of course in the airport, wearing him on the front of me, we usually have really early flights that we have to take out of here. And so we've woken him up at 4 in the morning and he's tired and cranky, and being able to just wrap him and nurse him, and security will let you just walk right through with your baby still attached to you. You don't have to take him off. It's pretty awesome to be able to have these when you're traveling. So I'll be really excited to have you guys follow me on my Instagram takeover in Mexico. You'll get to see this guy probably hammock between some, hopefully, between some palm trees, and and being used as a beach blanket and everything in between. So that'll be a pretty fun weekend takeover to join in on. And if you don't follow Joy and Joe on Instagram, go ahead, you should go do that so that you don't miss the Mexico adventure of charcoal cardo style. Well, I think I've used up all my time, and I love you all, and thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and I'll answer them, or somebody else with Joy and Joe will get back to you and answer them. And if you have any really great tips on how to fix my felted lavender cardo style, let me know, because I want to fix it if possible. So I appreciate all of you spending a half an hour with me, and we'll talk again soon. Have a great evening or day wherever you are.